Can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Two drivers' dream of making it to the Daytona 500 will be realized tonight. We'll set the field for next Sunday's race, as some will have to deal with the disappointment. That's straight ahead from Daytona.
I've got a secret down below. Little something people can't see at home.
Little something.
Ooh. So predictable.
It's a cool, crisp night. The Can-Am Duel race is ready to go. So 2 races, a doubleheader, 60 laps, 150 miles each. 3 drivers vying for 1 spot in each of these races and then setting the positioning for Sunday's running of the Daytona 500. We're trackside here in Daytona at the fan zone near the start-finish line. Michael Waltrip, who will be racing in the second duel. I'm Chris Myers. Thanks for being with us here on FS1 from Daytona. Michael, a variety of strategies. This is always a risk-reward sport, but how does that figure specifically tonight?
Well, just think about Chase Elliott, Dale Jr., Matt Kenseth. They've been rewarded. They have fast cars. They just have to protect those cars now. But there's 6 guys led by Michael McDowell. They have to risk everything in hopes of making the Daytona 500. That's where the risk comes in.
Yeah, and a handful of drivers having to start at the back of the pack, and some important names, Kevin Harvick among those. You're in a backup car because of what happened here in Wednesday's practice.
Yeah, all on the track. Chris, we're running 195 miles an hour in a turn, and a chain reaction wreck developed. You can see right there the 83 car bumped around. That's me sliding sideways into the outside wall. This will dash people's hopes and chances of taking their best car to the Daytona 500, but they will have cars they'll have to start in the rear end.
And you see Trevor Bayne, Greg Biffle, Stenhouse Jr., Harvick in the first duel, along with you, Kyle Larson. Again, Mark Truex Jr. never actually got on the track to qualify, so those cars are moved behind him in duel 2. What did Denny Hamlin tell you about dealing with traffic here?
Boy, he said he doesn't know. Think about what he did in the Unlimited. He started out, ran in the back on purpose to miss the big crash. By the way, he got in a wreck doing that. Then he pitted early, ran up front, never was in the middle of that pack. We're going to learn tonight what it takes to win the Daytona 500. You're going to get in different positions throughout the course of the race. How does your car handle? How do you push when you need to push and hold back when you need to hold back?
Well, we continue to see, it seems like the dominance, the Hendrick Motorsports Chevrolets and the Joe Gibbs Toyotas.
That's the story. And in this first race, particularly because you got Dale Jr. and Chase up front. The second race, there's 3 Gibbs cars. Look for them to be the story in the second one.
And the pressure tightened a bit. Remember, it's only a 40-car field for this year's Daytona 500 as opposed for 43, and they'll set that positioning tonight in both races. So let's head back down to the track.
And now, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, Vice President of Global Sales and Consumer Experience for BRP Incorporated, Steve Pelletier.
Drivers, start your engine.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won a dual race 4 times, so we'll be watching closely in Duel 1. Let's now go upstairs. Welcome the newest member of our team, Jeff Gordon, who's with, of course, Darrell Waltrip and Mike Joy. Mike?
Thank you, Chris. Tonight is unique in the entire NASCAR season. This is the only race for which the starting positions are determined heads up, side by side, green flag to checker. But Jeff, the front row's already set for Sunday. If you're Chase Elliott or Matt Kenseth in race 2, you have the pole for the 500. How much are you willing to risk that to perform well tonight?
Yeah, it's a great accomplishment to know that you've qualified for the Daytona 500 on the front row, but it is absolutely terrifying as a driver to know that you have to bring it back in one piece here tonight.
Yeah, if he goes to a backup car, he'll have to start in the back on Sunday. Darrell, this is no mere short track heat race like we see at tracks all across America. This race has meaning, it has risk, and as Chris pointed out, reward.
Yeah, don't ever underestimate the importance of these races. Some of these teams have not made pit stops, so they're going to get to go over the wall tonight and change some tires and get the rust off. You can practice all you want, but there's nothing like being in real competition when there's something on the line, and there's a lot on the line tonight for a bunch of these guys.
18 drivers in each of these 2 races trying to earn a starting spot in the 500 up near the front. And yet, there are drivers trying to race their way in tonight.
Look at your stuff real quick.
Kind of big.
You.
60 laps, 150 miles.
It's on the line now, boys. Who's going to make it? Aggression. I mean, these guys go out there and they're racing like the whole year is on the line. I mean, this is going to be a huge battle. These guys are the best in the world.
On Fox Sports 1, it's the Can-Am Duel at Daytona. A unique two-race qualifying format to set the stage for stock car racing's biggest day, Sunday's Daytona 500 on Fox. The field is split evenly into two races. We'll have a look at the starting lineup for Duel number 1. Chase Elliott, the 500's youngest pole sitter ever. Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s won a Duel race 4 times.
Mike, in that second row, 2 fast forwards. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., best start ever in a Duel, and that rookie, Ryan Blaney, he's locked into the 500 on time.
Row 3, the famous number 3 Austin Dillon starting 5th. Starting 6th, 5-time Speed Weeks winner Denny Hamlin.
Row 4, the 2015 Daytona 500 winner Joey Logano and Casey Kane, a Duel winner in 2010.
Yeah, rolling off in row 5 there, you've got Paul Menard, who finished third in the Unlimited last Saturday night. And you got Brad Keselowski, believe it or not, has not won a race here at Daytona.
Row 6, starting 11th, Greg Biffle won his very first race here at Daytona in 03. And starting next to him in 12th, Brian Scott, a rookie this year.
Now, Michael McDowell, third fastest among the open drivers, those not guaranteed into the 500 on charter. He could make it in on time. He could race his way in. Regan Smith is locked in. He was an Xfinity winner here 2 years ago.
Yeah, in row 8, we got another rookie there, Chris Buescher. He's a champion from the Xfinity Series. And Bobby Labonte driving the 32, a champion.
And in row 9, starting 17th, 2011 Daytona 500 winner Trevor Bayne, and starting next to him, Clint Boyer in the 18th position.
Cole Witt has to race his way into the 500 to make the field, and David Reagan, who won here in July 2011.
Final row here is row 21, or row 11. We've got Josh Wise, best finish here, 5th in 2014, and Kevin Harvick bringing up the rear with 7 Daytona wins, and he won the Duel in 2013. Let's dial him up. What do you say?
How about that?
Kevin Harvick is DW. Got a copy, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Buddy, you got a lot of work ahead of you tonight. It's a long way to the front. What's your plan?
Well, Darrell, this is kind of like just one of the battles in the war here. You know, we had a little mishap in qualifying, so we'll work our way up through the field here and hopefully try to make our position better. And Rodney's giving me the green light to just go race and not worry about anything. So hopefully everything works out and our Jimmy John's Chevrolet runs good like it did in practice, and we'll go from there and start again on Sunday.
Kevin, what can you learn tonight? I mean, what are you going to take away from this race tonight?
This is really just about track position. I think you'll learn whether you have enough speed in your car. I think the handling of it might give you a couple hints as to which direction it might lean, but it's so cold that, I think the handling is really insignificant tonight as far as what you're going to learn. So it's really just more about me and trying to figure out just the moves and things that I need to make and where my car's strong and not strong, and just trying to get a better starting spot for Sunday is really the only goal.
All right, buddy, good luck and be safe.
Thank you, guys.
He starts 22nd. The further forward he finishes, the farther up he starts the 500. A little chilly here in Daytona. Let's get down to our NASCAR Fox All-Star Pit Crew, beginning with Matt Yocum.
Mike, the Duel has always been Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s playground. Over the past 16 years, 9 times he has finished first or second. He starts alongside his rookie teammate. Now, they did work a lot together during practice, primarily Chase following Junior. But Dale told me, simply put, in this event and on Sunday, you don't have any teammates, you don't have any friends. You have to be a one-man army. Jamie Little?
Well, Denny Hamlin kicked things off on Speedweeks with a bang. He won the Sprint Unlimited on Saturday, but that was with the help of his teammates. Tonight in this race, Duel number 1, he doesn't have a single teammate. They're all in Duel number 2. So I asked him what his strategy is. He said, unlike normal, I will not drop to the back intentionally knowing I don't have help. I'm going to race toward the front and race for the win. Chris Neville?
Well, Casey Kane won the Duel back in 2010 and had back-to-back runner-up finishes in 2013 and 2014. This format, it just suits his style. But he didn't have the speed in qualifying that his Hendrick teammates did. But yesterday in drafting practice, he was strong. And his crew chief, Keith Rodden, he thinks that they could possibly be the strongest of the Hendrick 4. And that is a big statement considering the speed we've seen from his teammates. Casey Kane, he rolls off 8th. Mike?
Thank you, Chris. My great pleasure to welcome back for the 16th year our strategist and rules expert, two-time Daytona 500 winning crew chief, Larry McReynolds.
Now, Mike, you heard Kevin Harvick talk about track position. Even at a track this size, these teams are doing all they can to keep that track position. I think this is a one pit stop race. We get beyond lap 15, get a caution, I think you'll see that one trip to pit road. Now, let's take a look at our race analysis. 60 laps, 150 miles. The ever-important pit road speed, 55 miles per hour. There's the fuel window, 40 to 46 laps. You heard about Kevin Harvick going to the rear, time disallowed, and the 3 Roush Fenway Ford drivers had to make a gear change. They will be back there with Kevin Harvick. Mike?
Thanks, Larry. Field rumbling around at pace car speed. Third car on the inside, that yellow and red Ford, is Joey Logano, who won the 500 a year ago. 4, Roger Penske. And he got a few words just before rolling off from the captain.
Joey, let's have a good one here tonight. You got your dad up here with me. We're in the same place we were last year.
That worked last year. No reason why it shouldn't this time. Thank you.
That's Roger Penske. To one of his 2 drivers, Brad Keselowski the other. And there are the spotters up on top of the roof, 1 per car, in communication with their driver and crew chief. And you can see it's gotten a little brisk here. I know that's little comfort to those of you way up in the Northeast in New England, where you haven't seen 0 in the evening for a while. Here it's 59 degrees. Winds out of the Northeast as they've been all day, 15 miles an hour. But it's been clear skies here all day. There is the 2016 Toyota Camry XSE that leads the field here in Daytona. And we listened in on Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his team.
Like the pace car's speed is don't show any green lights or nothing. So that's how small a window we have for the driver on the dash. You know what I'm saying?
Drivers adapting to the new digital dash or glass panel instead of the gauges we used to have. There's a look at it. Greg Biffles. A lot of things are new this year, and that is one of the newest.
Look at all those
big innovations.
Wow.
Butterflies?
Absolutely. If you're Chase Elliott, definitely. I loved hearing that Kevin Harvick is out there. He's going to go race and race hard. We're going to see a lot of action coming from the back and the front.
The pole sitter has lane choice. Everyone else lines up in their respective numbered order. Chase Elliott has chosen the outside of row 1. Dale Earnhardt Jr. to the inside as the pace car hits pit road. And on a Thursday night, we're ready to set the field for the 500. We're racing. On the break, Elliott got a little push from the 21 of Ryan Blaney, dropped down to pick up Dale Earnhardt Jr., then moved up to the top of the racetrack here in turn 4.
I think that might have been Chase's, in the 24, Chase Elliott's method to his madness. He thought he'd get a better push from that 21 than he would the 3 car down there of Ty Dillon, or Austin Dillon, sorry.
I think this is an incredible moment for Chase Elliott and a huge lesson. If you can keep Dale Earnhardt Jr. behind you in this race, and I know they're teammates, but Jr.'s so good at these restrictor plate tracks, and he wants to win this race. He's going to be doing everything he can, and Chase has to be watching in that mirror to see how he can block that pass if it comes.
Yeah, I think Jr. will go to the lead. I don't think he'll sit there too long. I think he goes. Well, you got to.
Elliott just dropped right down, and Earnhardt goes upstairs. Now, no pressure, but the last rookie to drive the 24 here won his dual race, his first time out. That was Jeff Gordon.
I think Junior will go right to the lead, guys. That was my thought. Don't know if he'll make it or not, but that's what he wants to do.
Hamlin's going to shove Dale hard here. You got big help behind Blaney, tight behind you, majority top though.
That is Eddie DeHaan, spotter for the number 24. That's Hamlin in the 11 up high.
Be real careful with a big push off of 4. All right, side by side. The bottom has better help here. The bottom has help.
That's such an important message to hear, that the bottom has more help. That means the bottom lane is a little bit more organized, more cars. Doesn't necessarily mean that line is absolutely going to come forward, but the chances are far better for that line to move.
Matt Yoakum.
Alan Gustafson told me, Mike, that basically Eddie DeHaan's role takes on an even greater importance tonight. He's got to educate Chase as to what's going on around him, and Chase has to let Eddie drive the car to a certain extent. In fact, Eddie just told him on the radio a few moments ago that he is going to basically use driver names, not car numbers. That way Chase doesn't have to think so much when he's out front.
I like that. Keep it simple. Don't confuse him. Right now, he just needs to focus on driving his car and stay out of trouble.
Not seeing a lot of organization in that bottom lane right now. You've got Austin Dillon's trying to pop down to the bottom side, but looks like he's going to actually go backwards as Joey Logano fills that gap right up the middle and moves that lane forward.
Mighty dicey right here in the middle of 3 and 4. These cars 3 wide already and moving around quite a bit. The wind has settled down. It's not quite as windy as it's been all afternoon. That helps a lot.
Earnhardt to the front. You'll notice on our Fox ticker, different colored backgrounds behind some drivers in the field. There's Ryan Blaney in green, and that is because he is in a position to lock into the field where he's running right now. Now, he's guaranteed in the 500 on speed from Sunday, but he can lock into a better starting spot by being the first of those open drivers to finish. Now, Michael McDowell in that spot. You see Cole Witt is right now out of a qualified spot. That affects only the 4 drivers with the asterisk next to their name.
Heard Keith Rodden say they thought that 5 car of Casey Kane was pretty strong, and right now he's looking pretty stout. Here comes Harvick. He's found his way to the front, too.
Where did he come from?
Yeah, where'd he come from?
When they're 3 by 3 by 3, it makes it a lot easier to get to about mid-pack because you're already there.
He's up to 9th, and I'm joking because we used to say that a lot early in Kevin Harvick's career. That's how he earned the nickname the closer. Chris Neville.
Well, over the last 2 years, Kevin Harvick just hasn't been happy with his race cars in practice on the restrictor plate track. Rodney Childers, his crew chief, said every practice we've had those last 8 races, he just has gotten out and says the car isn't strong. Well, today, he got out of that car yesterday and today and said, you know what, this is the best restrictor plate car we have had, and we're seeing that right now.
I think what we're also seeing is at the front right now, I believe what are probably the 3 best cars in that 11 is coming to trying to find the lead. We know he's strong. Won the Unlimited here last Saturday night. He and Dale Jr. are the 2 cars I think you're going to have to deal with.
And Harvick goes back to 15th spot, just like that.
You picked the wrong line, Mike, and you just, you get no help. You don't get any push from the line you're in, and you just go backwards.
I always found that bottom lane, it was so inconsistent. A lot of cars will go up the middle, and drivers choose that middle lane, and that lane will go forward. And it's all about getting help. If you go down to the bottom, even if you have the momentum, it's amazing how if they don't go with you, you lose all that momentum. As we see 4 cars kind of playing the strategy here in the back.
Yes, all 3 of the Roush Fenway cars have dropped to the back. Stenhouse, Biffle, and Bain. And further back behind them is the 32 of Bobby Labonte.
Well, those guys start in the back, and I think they're sitting back there right now just watching and, see if anything's going to happen or not. It's pretty dicey up front. A lot of movement. Not a bad idea.
A lot of time. 8 down, 52 to go. When the Speedway opened in 1959, these were 100-mile races, and they counted for series points. As soon as the cars could go 100 miles on 1 tank of gas, they increased the length to 125 and now to 150 miles.
Yeah, it got to where you could make 125 miles out of pit stop. So that was kind of sometimes wasn't that great of a race, but now you got to make 1.
Brad Keselowski to 2nd and hunting the lead in that white Ford.
Now, if he plays this right, he'll get a big push from Denny Hamlin behind him, maybe get enough momentum to make a move on Dale Jr. Dale Jr. is so good at being out front, maintaining that lead. Yes, he has a fast race car, but he and his spotter are so good at making sure they block all those moves that come their way.
Matt?
Mike, we saw a lot of debris issues in the Sprint Unlimited on Saturday night. Greg Ives told Junior and his spotter, TJ Majors, keep an eye because there is debris on the grill.
Yep, sure is. You see that piece right there on the grill. That's and it's right in that sweet spot. That's where they take the air in. That could be a problem.
And we saw what happened with Keselowski in the Unlimited the other night when he had that on his grill. It was a big problem. This doesn't seem to be stuck in quite the same spot as what we saw with Brad the other night, but we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on it.
Pretty serious. We've had a lot of debris on the racetrack. I think it's because of all the construction. I think there's I know they've done a nice job of preparing this speedway, but it's been so windy, it's just blowing paper everywhere around the racetrack.
All right, teammates finding each other. Paul Menard back at 5th. He has Austin Dillon right behind him. They both run for Richard Childress Racing, the 27 and the 3. The 2 and the 22 are the Penske Fords, and the 21 of Ryan Blaney trying to get up with them. They're a Penske affiliated team. Chase Elliott on the bottom. Denny Hamlin in this race, as pointed out, has no friends. All of his Joe Gibbs Toyota teammates are in race number 2. Jamie?
Quite the opposite of what we saw at the end of the Sprint Unlimited when he had all of his teammates protecting him. Right now, no help. He dropped back. I talked to Mike Wheeler, his crew chief. He told me if they're running mid-pack, their goal is to make it to lap 13. After that, if the caution comes out, they will pit, and ideally they would take gas only and no changes since it is such a short race.
$11 down, 49 to go in the first of 2 races that make up the Can-Am Duel at Daytona and set the field for Sunday's Daytona 500. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in front of Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano.
Wiggle in there, the 3.
You'll get used to it.
Keep it on that 20.
It'll come to you.
14 laps complete in the first race of 2 that make up the Can-Am Duel. All green flag racing so far. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led 12 laps. 500 pole sitter Chase Elliott in the 24 has led 2.
Mikey,
Brad,
just
go ahead.
Sorry, I'm sorry. It seemed like Dale Jr. really gets off the corner well, gets off with a little bit better acceleration. Not sure if just the car's a little freer, maybe a little more power. I don't know, but he really gets off of the corner well.
We're seeing these cars really get stacked up down the back straightaway and get a lot of energy and momentum built up between them and getting some big runs. I mean, this is what I love about Brad Keselowski. He wants to lead. You can tell he knows he has his teammate behind him that will stick with him wherever he goes, and he's trying to utilize that opportunity to make a pass on Dale Jr.
And I'll tell you something else. That 27 car running in 4th place. He finished 3rd here last Saturday night in the Unlimited. Paul Menard, Slugger Labbe, they got a good race car here this weekend. He's sitting in a really good position right now early in this race.
There's his Chevrolet in 4th. Looking back from Joey Logano's Ford. Brad Keselowski sitting in 2nd, has won the Sprint Cup championship. He's never won a race of any kind at Daytona. What would this checkered flag mean?
Oh, it would mean a lot. Every driver wants to win at Daytona, and Brad is a student of the sport. He loves the history of it. His family has been in racing for many years, so I can promise you, he wants to not just win the Daytona 500. He wants to win every race he's in here at Daytona.
And my bad on Slugger Labbe. That's on the 27 car. He's not the crew chief anymore. Justin Alexandria. So I'll just shout out to Slugger and give some credit to Justin.
But getting back to Paul Menard showed us some great moves on the restrictor plate tracks in the past, but also this week he's been very impressive, and he's already up there in the top 5. I look for him to make some moves. As we see Denny Hamlin popping out there in the back, you know Denny doesn't like to stay in line.
Now Ryan Blaney, who is the fastest of the open cars, one of which will transfer in on speed. He's locked into the 500, but does he have an issue? Let's find out.
Mike, there is a concern with the 21. Ryan Blaney telling his team that there's a vibration. 5 laps later, he says it has gotten worse. It feels like it's in the front of the race car. They're wondering if possibly a truck arm mount or something along those lines, but it continues to get worse on the 21.
Meanwhile, something is dragging from the back of Austin Dillon's car, Larry.
Yeah, it looks like the rear bumper bar. Again, we've been seeing these guys kind of beat on each other on the straightaway, and that's actually the rear bumper bar that goes behind the actual bumper cover, and I think that's dragging. I don't think NASCAR is going to let that drag for long.
Yeah, and that is Slugger Labbe's car. He's a crew chief on the 3 car.
Now the 21 situation for Ryan Blaney, he's a rookie. He's locked into the 500 on speed. Should he not complete this race, he would fall back on his speed and he would have a spot in the 500.
That if that is a bumper bar, and I believe Larry's right, that thing looks like it's about ready to fly off of there.
Yeah, and that's a really bad position to be in if you're Ryan Blaney behind that car, because if that does come off, it's coming right through your nose, and that's going to cause a lot of problems. At this point in the race, people are getting settled in. Now it's about handling. Now is when, yeah, you're checking your speed on your car, but this is where you start to try to figure out, what do I need for the Daytona 500? We're going to be in these types of positions in the 500. What's my car drive like when I'm 5th in line, when I'm 8th in line?
It's kind of what we were talking about in the opening there. You can't simulate this kind of stuff till you get in competition. Everybody's kind of nice to each other when you're practicing, but all bets are off when you're doing it for real.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. continues to lead after 20 laps.
I know, Barry, I was thinking this.
23 laps complete. Top of the screen, they're in turn 3 from our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learn making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours from Goodyear, official tire of NASCAR. Dale Earnhardt Jr. continues to lead. Here goes Keselowski down to the inside. Will he get any help? Nope. Back up in line.
And Mike, there's a lot of strategy going on. I know we're look like we're just riding around the race, but we're really not. There's communication between the crew chief, the driver, adjustments, strategy, who's fast, who isn't, what line to be in. There's a lot going on right now.
It's a 15-car draft. Now, Paul Menard's race has not been without incident, even though he rides along in 4th place.
Hey, I got something on my grill. Take a look if you can. Water shot up 20 degrees. Fine. Yeah, you got something dead center.
He had picked up what looked like a piece of plastic. You'll see it here on this replay. And the way you get rid of it is you get up close to another car where there's that air pressure differential. Boom. 190 mile an hour car wash. Boom. Just like that.
I tell you, that Brad Keselowski, he is working, man. He's looked everywhere. He's tried high. He's thinking high. He's thinking low. He wants Joey Logano in the 22 to help him, but they don't quite have the speed to get up there and challenge Dale Jr.
Well, and you would never do the things that Brad's doing if you didn't have your teammate behind you and you guys didn't have a plan going into it, because he is, I love it. He's trying a lot of different things. Now right here, he's backing up to that 22 car, and that gives him a big surge, a big pocket of air that gets built up on the front of that nose of the 22 and gives him this big surge. I'd like to see Brad, if he really wants to pass Junior. Right now I think he's just playing. He's just trying different things out. And we see Denny's not playing. Denny is always making moves. You got to love that about Denny Hamlin. He's never content with just being in line riding. He wants to get back up to the front. But back to Brad Keselowski, I'd like to see him use that brake and back up and stack some cars up a little bit more. If he knows that car's going to stay with him, go ahead and do that.
Let me tell you what's going to happen. That 11 car he's going to get up there and challenge all of them, because he's coming on the inside with help.
Telemetry in on the 2 and 22, running 2nd and 3rd.
We saw the 11 car Denny Hamlin in practice, Mike. If you remember, he sliced and diced right through a bunch of cars like this right to the front. And that 11 is bad fast. We saw that Saturday night in the Unlimited, and he's pushing his way right up there to the front.
Now, if you saw right there, Joey Logano went down to the bottom before Keselowski did, and I think that was a sign to Brad to say, hey, that inside lane is looking good, carrying some momentum. Think about blocking that inside lane if it comes.
I always like what people say, well, why don't they pass Dale Jr.? Well, because he's got a faster car. That might be one reason why.
Well, and it takes a lot more than just 1 or 2 cars to work together. This is why the leader has such an advantage and why Dale Jr. loves to get out front and control the race.
Now look at this battle. The black 59 with the yellow number on the roof, the black 98. They are trying to race their way into the Daytona 500. Michael McDowell from Glendale, Arizona has that spot. Currently 10th. Cole Witt, his only possibility is to race his way in that 98. You see him getting passed now by Kevin Harvick. And Ryan Blaney can either race his way in or fall back on his time trial speed. But right now, McDowell in that red and black, yellow numeral 59, has the transfer spot. And that's $150,000 or more, whether you make the 500 or whether you drive home tomorrow.
And that continues on when you leave Daytona. That can really just build so much more momentum and really get that team in a great position. We see Ryan Blaney coming to pit road.
It's not a bad strategy. Come now. See what they do on their stop.
This is right at the halfway point, so from a fuel standpoint, tire standpoint, it's a pretty good time to come in. As we see the 22 go to the outside of the 2, maybe the 2's coming to pit road this time also.
Matt?
And Mike, the problem has gotten worse for Ryan Blaney. At one point, he told his spotter, Josh Williams, tell the 24 to go around me. My car is vibrating so much, I don't want to wreck him and take him out. They finally told him, just come on down, we're going to jack it up and see, but he thinks it's the truck arm.
Blaney will go a lap down as a result of this pit stop, which, if the rest of the field has to stop under green, will not hurt him. But should a caution come out, well, he'd get the free pass and be back on the lead lap.
And Mike, he did a really, really smart thing there. Ryan Blaney, he could have blended up on the bottom lane with his left tires on the yellow line, but he saw that pack coming. He stayed on the apron until they cleared him.
I'm not so sure he knows the rules here at Daytona versus Talladega. I mean, that cost him a lot of time right there. You can actually get your left sides on the yellow line as you go into turn one. And yes, the pack was coming and that was smart. But as soon as they went by, you needed to get up on the banking.
I'm not so sure that his problems are a lot worse than that. I mean, he's fallen way back. He's complaining about a vibration. Remember, they've had some engine problems on these restrictor plate races last year. So there might be something more serious going on with that baby.
And here comes Paul Menard up the outside, leading that group. Now Logano looks up to cover the spot. Now Logano brings his Ford back down in front of his teammate, the Deuce, Keselowski. Now Clint Bowyer in the number 15 Chevrolet. He switched teams this year. Bowyer has faded to 17th. What's up, Jamie?
He hasn't made much headway. You mentioned the team. Everything is new for him. H. Scott Motorsports, it's a Hendrick chassis, Stewart Haas bodies, and a new crew chief. And yesterday during practice, he told us they thought they found a little bit more speed, but tonight that has not been the case. He's been frustrated. The car's not good. They have quite a few things to work through with all this newness.
And when I think of Clint Bowyer, he's such a talented race car driver, incredible experience at all different types of tracks, especially on these restrictor plate tracks. We've seen him do well. I thought even if they were lacking in speed, he would have no problem being right in the mix of things.
Yeah, I just think it shows the importance. I know the driver makes all the difference in the world who's in the car, but by the same token, you got to have a car.
Well, whatever was behind Austin Dillon's car looks like it broke off.
He's kind of become stubby now.
We're kind of wondering that may not have been something metal because there were no sparks. Interesting. Whatever it was, it's gone. That was Brian Scott right behind him. We are green through 33 laps. 3 of the last 4 years, at least one of these races has gone caution-free.
Hey, I can't imagine. Just a little wee bit.
Racing under green at 36 laps, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has led all but 2 of them. He continues to lead Joey Logano with Brad Keselowski and Paul Menard side by side for 3rd. But the big battle is at 11th place, where Michael McDowell, Levine Family Racing, merging with Circle Sport Racing. They're running 2 cars here. One for Ty Dillon, one for McDowell. And they're trying to race their way into the 500. And Cole Witt in the number 98, trying to deny them as they battle 11th and 13th now, as we're past the halfway point without a caution flag. Only Ryan Blaney has been to pit road, Larry.
And Mike, we talked about one stop, and it looks like this stop possibly may be a green flag stop in the next 5 to 8 laps. And I think because they only need about a half a can of fuel, we'll see a lot of teams go with fuel only. But if you're going to do that, you can't slide those tires coming on the pit road. Possibly the difference between who gets in the 500 between McDowell in the 59 and Cole Witt in the 98 could be this pit stop coming up.
Absolutely. 38 complete, 22 to go. Michael Waltrip's with us. He'll be in race number 2 of the Can-Am Duel. Michael, what are you seeing here that may help or affect your race strategy?
Well, I kind of thought the high side would prevail. They would run around the top of the racetrack and get in single file, try to log some laps. This is a qualifying race, you know, and the guys up front just want to stay there. But what I've seen that's interesting is the runs you can make on the bottom and how drafting is really coming into play. We're seeing some great moves. Just a couple of notes. Anytime you have a green flag pit stop in restrictor plate racing, it's very important to communicate getting onto pit road. One guy makes the wrong move, you can have a pileup. That's something to be concerned about. Did you see Brad Keselowski dropping low there along with some of the other guys? They're coming to pit road, guys.
Logano, Harvick, Keselowski, 4 cars further back, all coming to pit road as we complete 39 laps. Chris Neville.
And crew chief Rodney Childers reminding Kevin Harvick, don't slide the tires. We're only doing fuel on this stop. Harvick saying the car a little too free. Matt?
And Joey Logano was saying a few laps ago that he could really feel the grip go away in the tires. Left side wedge adjustment on that 22. Todd Gordon, he wants 4 tires to give him the most grip for the run to the finish.
Stenhouse, Bain, Biffle, and Boyer also pitting at lap 39 with 21 to go.
I think with the amount of fuel you had to take right there, 4 tires was the right call. You got to put fuel in it. That was the right call.
Casey Kane still out on the racetrack along with David Reagan. Everyone else has come to the pit lane. Chris.
Ooh, Paul Menard coming in hot. His crew chief Justin Alexander reminding him, don't slide the tires, just fuel. Jamie.
And the plan for Denny Hamlin all along was fuel only, a wedge adjustment as well, Matt.
And Junior Stutters leaving his box. Chassis adjustments across the back. Greg Ives reminded him, do not slide your tires. We wanted to go fuel only.
A lot of work at the back of Austin Dillon's car, but I don't know if we saw any tire changes.
I don't think we did, except on the 22 car. He took 4 tires, and I like that call.
Look at this. Here's that battle side by side, 98 and 59, as they leave the pits and try to get back up to speed. Harvick rockets around them, and the final 2 cars come to the pit lane. Casey Kane's number 5 and David Reagan's 23. Chris?
And Casey Kane was confident about what his car was going to be like in the draft in this race. However, once he got out there, he said when he has cars behind him too close, that car getting away from him way too loose. So we saw a chassis adjustment there.
So after pit stops, Michael McDowell is in the transfer spot. Cole Witt from Alpine, California in the 98 right behind him, running 9th and 10th to try to break into the Daytona 500.
Now, I'd be a little concerned right now about Michael McDowell, because now I have Cole Witt behind me with 2 cars drafting with him. The amount of speed they're going to be able to gain on him. And you know Cole Witt's he's not content falling in behind Michael McDowell. It's a pretty good chance that when they get there, you can already see they're 3 miles per hour faster. There's a good chance they're going to go right on by Michael McDowell.
Cole Witt driving for Mike Hillman, longtime car owner in this series. Working around David Reagan, whose car is still coming up to speed from his pit stop 1 lap later than those other drivers. Denny Hamlin is the new leader.
Mike, I don't think there's any question you can run the 150 miles on 1 set of tires. I don't think that's a problem. But I do think that maneuverability, if we should get a caution here, the 22 is set. I don't think he'd have to come back to pit road. Some of these other guys may want to come back and get tires.
Ryan Blaney back on pit road, and that means he will almost certainly have to fall back on his qualify. Oh, it is Cole Witt. He is around
Hold on to it.
Reagan misses him. Caution waves.
Get ready. 4 tires, get ready. You all right? Filling up with gas.
Wow.
Let's have a look and see what happened to Cole Witt down in turns 1 and 2. The 98 black car, second in line.
We talked about how important this was. This was the move that could get you into the Daytona 500. Michael McDowell put a big spin on him, and then the 7 car behind Regan Smith had nowhere to go and got into the back of the 98 and turned him. That right there shows you that closing rate and how important that pass was.
As this unfolded, David Reagan may have gotten just a piece of him going by down on the apron. Reagan right there.
And we saw Brian Scott got a little bit of damage or contact that sent him spinning also.
Roof flaps did their job. He saw that thing get up on 2 wheels there a little bit, and that right roof flap pushed it right back down on the ground.
I don't think Regan actually got into him. I think he just got into a very vulnerable position, turned in. Right there in that transition, the cars get very light, and just a little bit of that air coming from Regan Smith's car just turned the 98 right around.
Jeff, it looked like he kind of threw it in the corner like he was going to make a move, and it just got out from under him.
And, you know, this is going to play out later in this race. They didn't take tires. That was gas only. There's no doubt new tires will give you a little bit of extra grip, and in that kind of maneuver, 4 tires may have been the difference of keeping that car going straight or not.
Cole Witt is 24. He's got a couple of years in the Cup Series, but it's a tall order to put on the shoulders of a man. You have to race into the Daytona 500. That is your only shot.
But he is a feisty little driver, I'll tell you.
Cole Witt goes for a spin, trying to make the move on Michael McDowell. We're under caution.
He won't do that. Him and Hamlin won't do that.
We'd like one of you fans to feel like a winner and win the same amount of money as the driver who wins the Daytona 500, $1.5 million. All you have to do, pick the top 10 finishers of the 500 in order. Visit foxsports.com/Daytona Pick 10 before Sunday race day to enter. We'll make our picks. We'll disclose them Saturday afternoon. That may help you. It may not. We're not eligible to win, but one of you could win $1.5 million. foxsports.com/Daytona Pick 10. Here's your running order at 45 laps. 15 to go. We're under the first caution of the night for Cole Witt's spin. And we listened in on rookie and pole sitter for the 500, Chase Elliott and his team.
You know, Jimmy's just giving us some insights to hunt that middle, you know, fight for that middle. You can make some stuff happen there, like when Kevin was behind you, just trying to gouge forward. But you're doing good, man.
Thinking of 3 deep there if I can get in safely.
Especially with Kevin behind you, he knew Kevin wanted the middle, so if you can kind of gouge to get that middle and take a free ride, that's good.
Absolutely right. It's risky in the duel.
I would tell you to do that. I don't know if I'd tell Chase to do that or not.
Well, just if you're sitting on the front row with this 24 car, you want to put yourself in positions like that, and you want to move forward. And I love that he's talking about, you know, using some information from his teammate Jimmy Johnson, and also looking at what Kevin Harvick was doing, but gouging up through the center.
That's why when I heard that word, I said, no, you don't want to gouge anything.
No, he has to keep that car in one piece if he wants to start on the pole Sunday.
But
Chris Myers?
And watching with Michael Waltrip, who's going to jump in the car in just a moment, get out of his TV suit. He's got the fire suit below, and race a little in Duel 2, running in your 29th Daytona 500. What are you seeing here as you get ready to go there?
I like the tire call for Joey Logano, because that's why Cole Witt spun out. You got to know how hard these guys are trying. That was his chance to make the move around the transfer spot. He got down into turn 1 where the cars are loose anyway. It got away from him. Tires could help Logano tremendously here at the end. I can't wait to go race, Chris. I'm excited.
All right, good luck out there. And when he goes there, Denny Hamlin is going to join us in between. And for the second duel, we'll be watching with everyone else. Let's get back to Jeff, Darrell, and Mike.
Thanks, Chris. The first 7 cars in line have not been to pit road for tires. However, from Greg Biffle on back, most of those other cars have. What's Paul Menard up to?
Kind of a high frequency vibration. Feel it, and it's kind of making my right foot go numb. Being wide open. It's kind of like a buzzing through my right leg. So, I'm not sure what that's about.
Yeah, we talked about this in practice. We saw Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus talking about holding the shifter and checking for vibrations. If you get those harmonic vibrations in the driveline, it's hard to find, number one, but also it just sends this chill through your whole body, and it will make hands, feet go to sleep when you're in the car, especially when you're holding it wide open like you are all the way around the lap.
13 to go when they come to the line, and here's what's at stake. The drivers, the way they finish this duel, will line up in that order on the inside lane for Sunday's Daytona 500. And of the cars trying to race their way in, Josh Wise in 13th. In number 30 has that position. Michael McDowell on the outside looking in from 15th, as is Cole Witt from 22nd. Here are the restart lines at the bottom of the screen. There they are. The driver must go between here and here as he leads the field to green. Otherwise, the flagman will restart the race.
Might be trouble for these boys at that 11 out front, because we know he's got a fast hot rod.
He was impossible to pass here Saturday night in the Sprint Unlimited.
Junior had just a little bit of trouble on his pit stop there coming out of the pits. He kind of stumbled a little bit, and he lost a couple of spots. See if he can get them back.
A little bit of trouble on that restart, too. It's not, like the front row to get that big of a gap. I know Denny Hamlin got a great start, but it seemed like Junior just didn't get the start he was really hoping for.
Austin Dillon in the 3, trying to give Chase Elliott a little bit of a push.
He's saying, yeah, I was a rookie at one time. Let me see what you have here.
Yeah, and he was a rookie pole sitter for the 500, as was Danica Patrick, 3 in the last 4 years.
Well, you just see that 88 car on that outside line. It's not going anywhere right now, and Junior's continue to fall back a little bit here. He's back to about 6th place.
So, Jamie, why did Denny Hamlin choose not to take tires?
Well, I talked to the team, and it was all about cutting time. They only put 2/3 of a can of fuel in, just enough to get a little past 21 laps. That was a 5.5-second pit stop. Yeah, it didn't get new tires, but it also saved him 3 spots, and that was the lead.
I tell you, old Wheels, he's doing a whale of a job down there in the pits calling these races. We saw him do that last Saturday night to win Denny this race on fuel mileage. Looks like they got a pretty good strategy again tonight. Can't argue with the call.
Wheels is Mike Wheeler. That is Denny Hamlin's new crew chief.
And I'm really interested to see how Denny Hamlin does leading this race. We saw Dale Jr. out front controlling this race. Now he's behind. You know he's going to be hungry to get up there. And what about Denny Hamlin? Can he hold off this field like Jr. was doing earlier in this race?
Yeah, look at that 88 car. He just drove right by Austin Dillon, dove right by him, back up in front of him, and he's chasing down that front pack, those front two there.
Cole Witt has retired his car to the garage. So the battle for the bubble is Blaney, McDowell, and Wise.
And you saw it right there. Big push from the 3 to the 88. 88 up to the 4. The 4 had a lot of momentum going into the corner and almost made the move.
Let's take a look back at the restart where Kevin Harvick appeared to give Denny Hamlin a pretty good shove here.
Ready. Green, green, green.
Little bump.
88 stammered a little bit, 24 coming. 88 still at your door, coming back, 24 pushing hard. 88 still there.
That was more than a little bump. That was a big bump.
I saw the deck lid bow up. I don't know if that's pretty hard, I guess.
And it worked really well.
I hadn't seen it yet before I said it, so we err on the side of cautions if we can.
I think these first 3 guys are the 11, the 4, and the 88. That car, Dale Jr., he wants to pass these guys, get back to the lead. I can tell you, he's hungry to get back out front. I just think that 11 car is going to be hard to get by from what I've seen out of that thing over the last few days.
Nine laps to go. Let's go back down to Paul Menard's pit. Chris?
Paul Menard just reported to his team he thinks he has a tire rub, possibly that left rear. So the team trying to take a look at that right now and figure out if they're going to have to bring him to pit lane.
Boy, it sure doesn't look like it, Chris. I mean, I don't see any rubber on the quarter panel. I don't see any smoke. Looks like the letters are all on the tire. Pretty hard to tell from here, but it looks pretty clean.
And that's risky. Where he's track position is everything here. Where he is right now, he would start in row 8 of the Daytona 500. Hate to give that up.
Yeah, we don't want to blow. If that tire is rubbing, you sure don't want to stay out there long because it'll blow out.
And usually if the left rear is smoking, the rear tires in general, you'll get a little bit of smoke and smell that rubber burning inside the car. So I'm pretty sure he has a reason to be concerned.
Here goes Logano down on the inside. Now, if he's the Lone Ranger down there, he could fall all the way back to 19th.
He's going to be the Lone Ranger.
Yeah,
Tonto, you go to town.
I'd like to help you, but.
Right. He's going to get some help. Here comes Ryan Blaney, who is not an official teammate of Logano, but he's affiliated with the Penske teams as he drives the 21 for the Wood brothers.
Oh, Mike, that's a full-blown Penske car, engine, the whole 9 yards. So they are like teammates.
Now it's on. Dale Jr.'s in second place, and now we're really going to not only find out what kind of speed he has, but the maneuvering and the tactics that he uses to get that energy from the car or cars behind him. You watch, he'll let that 11 car get a gap out there, and he'll try to stack himself up to those cars behind and get a big run.
Did you hear what he did going into 1? He lifted just a little wee bit to let that 11 get that gap so he can chase him down.
Look at him backing up to this 4 car, but the 4 car's not going for it. The 4 car knew what he was about to do.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Kevin Harvick is not going to clear Dale Jr., and this is going to cost him.
No, he's going to get some help from Menard, but it's going to be little and late.
So if you're in second place, the reason it's so difficult to get that lead, you have to get you have to get so much momentum that they can't block you. That you can get out in their blind spot as Dale Jr. makes a move to the high side, trying to get into that blind spot of Denny Hamlin.
This is a cat and mouse game right here. Okay, he's going high, blocking high. He's going to go low. You have to anticipate, if you're Denny Hamlin, which way is 88 of Jr. going to go.
My cat never ran 190 miles an hour. Matt.
Junior working on his timing and counting it down. He told his spotter, TJ Majors, give me the laps to go every time by.
Yeah, that's what he does. And right here, he's looking on the inside. He's going to make the pass right here. He's on his way.
That was a textbook move. He moved down to the 4 and felt the momentum coming from the 4, moved down in front of him, got just what he needed, got right to the quarter panel of Denny Hamlin, and goes to the lead. Wow.
And now Denny Hamlin's saying, how did he do that? I thought I had him covered.
Well, it's not over yet. I think Denny has something to say here.
I don't know about that one.
But that was such a classic Earnhardt move, senior or junior.
Oh, yeah.
Working the air and finding out how to use it to your advantage has always been a hallmark of the Pied Piper in the '88 and his dad, the Intimidator.
Comes that 22 car of Logano down the inside trying to get up to the back of Kevin Harvick. And the 4, I still think that 22 car, it's going to run out of laps, but still think he's going to have a little something to say about it.
Now Josh Wise trying to race his way into the 500. His only chance to make the race is to beat the 59 of McDowell and the 21 of Blaney. Whoa, hang on
to her, son.
I don't know what it is about turn 4 over there, but when you turn down off that banking and put the wheel to it, the back end just wants to step out.
That's how much on the edge you are.
Now
all
there are the
time.
open cars, those without a charter who are trying to race in. Blaney is locked in on time. If he races in by holding this spot, that would advance Michael McDowell into the 500 on time. We'll sort it all out for you about 3 laps from now.
You talking about debris? Did you see what they just went by down there? Big old plastic bag.
3 wide.
Now this is just all about decision making right there. You saw Denny Hamlin. He chose that outside lane hoping the energy was going to come from the outside lane, but then Kevin Harvick actually got to the inside of him. Now it's not over yet. I think that outside lane still can form, but right now a little bit more energy and air moving to move those cars up with momentum on the inside.
Here comes Harvick from last on the starting grid, coming for second against Hamlin on the outside.
I think he was right about his car, Mike. He said it's the best restrictor plate car he'd had in a long time, and it's really showing it right here in this race.
And this is one of the things that we've seen why it's so important, so great to be leading, because it's so hard for those guys to get organized and get a big enough run on the leader. But we see Joey Logano giving a big push to the 4 to maybe get up there and do something.
No, he's going to do something. He's going to go around him.
Lap and a half to go.
Those 4 tires are really paying off now, boys. Here comes Blaney.
Chase Elliott up behind the 4. Give him a little bit of help. But the Fords have lined up 22 Logano, 21 Blaney. In front of Hamlin's Toyota, chasing Earnhardt Chevrolet, and they'll come to the white flag this time.
It's going to get a little dicey here on this last lap because everybody's going to really start to really take the chances that they've been waiting for the last lap.
It's going to be on top 21. Free on the high side. 21. Free on the high side behind it. He's getting a shot for the 21 now. Here he comes.
If that 21 can work with Joey Logano, I think they might have a shot at getting to the inside of Dale Jr. Right here is where you're going to have to back up to the car. Let Junior get out there. Don't worry about what's happening down the back straightaway. Worry about what's going to happen when you get to turn 3 or maybe even coming off of turn 4.
Junior just gets off of a corner so well. It gets off of 2 great. It really gets off turn 4. He's been able to gap everybody on corner exit.
Just not quite enough right there.
Can't quite get to him.
He's not through. They're still 1 apart. They're still 1 apart.
1 car length.
Not pushing.
That's the difference. Chevy versus Ford. Spinning goes Brian Scott to the infield, but Dale Earnhardt Jr. will win his dual race for the 2nd year in a row. Tough break for the rookie from Idaho, who was fastest in one of the practices yesterday.
Yeah, good job. Great car.
Ryan Blaney finishes 3rd. He is in the Daytona 500 and will start from the 4th row. That will open up 1 spot on the speed chart from Sunday's qualifying, and it will go to Glendale, Arizona's Michael McDowell in the 59.
Good for him.
You know, there's a lot of very happy people on that 59 team right now. That's fantastic.
Circle Sport, Levine Family Racing will be in the 500 there. Let's have a look at down on the inside toward the back of that group.
Wow.
Around goes Brian Scott.
Boy, that didn't take much at all. We saw Michael McDowell drop down to the inside, actually trying to help out Brian Scott, and it just brought that car around in a hurry.
I just think, Jeff, it just shows how much on edge these cars are. They get in traffic and the air gets to moving around. You're just so loose.
Now, that car last year was the Richard Petty Motorsports number 9. They are locked into the Daytona 500. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the Pied Piper of Daytona, leads them to the line once again.
Tell me when there's a long break.
And
Okay.
you know there's one just right here.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
5 dual wins, the most of all active Sprint Cup drivers for Dale Earnhardt Jr. He will start in row 2 of the 500. Joey Logano finishes second. Ryan Blaney, instead of falling back on his speed, now he will start in the 4th row with that 3rd place finish. Kevin Harvick from last to 4th in this race. And Michael McDowell's speed will now be fast enough to get him into the 500. Josh Wise will not qualify, nor will Cole Witt. Those are the 2 drivers that will go home from this one. Matt Yoakum awaits Jr. in victory lane.
Mike, he gave the checkered flag to owner Rick Hendrick. Well, 5 to go, an impressive pass for the lead. What did you learn most about Amelia that you're excited about the 500?
Well, we knew it was a real good car. This car, actually, a lot of people don't talk about it, but it won the 150 last year too. So it's got 3 wins and a 2nd and 3rd last year. It's a great car. Another win at Daytona for the Earnhardts. Keep adding to the legacy, and we're up there in the 50s now with all the wins we got here. So I'm real glad to be able to do that. It was a fun race. Did a lot of blocking tonight. Nothing too crazy, but glad it didn't have to get that way. But, just defending those guys and the moves they were putting together is a real challenge. There's some great cars out there, some really, really good guys out there that are starting to become pretty tough on these plate tracks. Joey's always up there. Denny's real tough. See the same guys up there all the time in the last several years, and they're hard to hold off, and it's getting harder and harder.
And Dale Earnhardt Jr. scores his 5th dual win.
Thanks to Nationwide. I want to thank those guys. They do a lot for us. Thank you.
Jamie?
And Ryan Blaney officially in. Now your second 500, but the first for the Wood brothers. You and your teammate, you guys look like you had a chance there at the end. What were you talking about afterwards?
Just trying to time runs. That's a big thing, is trying to get a good push behind you to help the guy in front of you to hopefully get by that leader. But I just followed Joey up there. Maybe the last 5 laps we got a couple good holes, and I had Chase behind me. He stuck with me too. That was a big part of it, having someone help behind you. So good recovery. We had a couple issues early in the race and went a lap down, and luckily got a caution and got back on the lead lap. But it's nice to have a good run. We had a fast car, and our Motorcraft Quick Lane Ford Fusion is pretty good. So I'm excited for Sunday.
Nice work and congratulations. Let's go over to Chris.
Well, Jamie, Michael McDowell races his way into the Daytona 500. And, Michael, what a pressure-packed week for you. What were those last couple laps like?
Oh, it's so intense. When Blaney had a problem there, and we were counting on him racing his way in, and then, at the end, we just dug hard, and the 21 got going, came to the white flag, and I was like, I'm right in the middle of it, but you got to protect it at the same time. I'm just so excited for everybody at Circle Sport Levine Family Racing to get this thriving financial Chevrolet, K-Love, everybody that's been a part of our program for so long. I can't tell you what it means to make the Daytona 500. We're racing Sunday, and I just can't wait to get going.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Third time in the last 7 years he's raced into the 500. Hall of Famer, our sports Edison, Leonard Wood gets congratulations. His older brother Glenn owns the team and is here for his 70th consecutive Daytona Speed Weeks. Amelia, that car named for famed aviatrix Amelia Earhart, is a winner.
Chris Myers back with you in Daytona. The 5th dual win in the career of Dale Earnhardt Jr. ties him 3rd all time with Jeff Gordon, Darrell Waltrip, and Bobby Allison on the dual list. A quick recap. One duel down and one to go with one spot for Sunday's 40-car field. There's Chase Elliott, the 20-year-old, on the pole and in the front row tonight in Duel 1 with Dale Earnhardt Jr. His teammate led a couple of laps, but there goes Jr. The in-car camera view passing the 24. Meanwhile, Austin Dillon in the 3, some issues with some item on the back that he was never red flagged for. Didn't cause any problem. Eventually flew off on its own. Meanwhile, Cole Witt, Michael McDowell, open drivers battling for a spot in the race. A little bit of blocking effort there within the rules by McDowell. The tires hurt Witt. He spins out of the 500. Hamlin fast out of the pits, and Denny actually led 13 laps, but here's the move with 6 to go. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in his Nationwide Chevrolet pulling into victory lane, and already the favorite for the Daytona 500 Sunday, adding fuel to that fire. Let's check in right now with Chase Elliott. He's standing by with Chris Neville.
Well, Chase Elliott comes home 6th tonight, but Chase, you will be starting up in pole position come Sunday. What did you learn in this race?
Just a lot of things of, I guess, what not to do and some opportunities I feel like we missed. Just trying to recognize the lanes before they form up, and you know, whichever lane has more cars in it, more, you know, really powerful cars, that one's going to go forward. And the really good guys are good at recognizing that before it happens, and I just let some opportunities slip away there.
Well, for the second race here in Speedweeks, Joey Logano comes out second. It looks like you had a shot on Junior, but he's so good. How do you beat this guy in his favorite car here on Sunday?
I don't know. I can't beat him right now. I got to figure something out. But he's just so good. You know, he's a great speedway racer. He's got a great car behind him, and congrats to him. I feel like we're close. You know, we had a really fun run through the end, and you know, ducking down to the bottom and trying to pull that bottom lane up, and it worked out well. Just got to get a little bit more to pass him. You know, I had a good run. Blaney did awesome behind me. He gave me a good push at the end, and almost had enough to get to the outside of Dale, and it just the run just kind of died out, and that was kind of the end of that. So it's really hard to pass for the lead when you're second, third place, or you're second row trying to pass for the lead. It's really challenging to have a big enough run to get to the outside, and that's why you see the leaders stay out there for so many laps. So just got to figure out how to get there, and I feel like our car is plenty fast enough to stay up there.
All right, well, Joey Logano's heading up to the spotter stand to watch the next race, see if he can learn a thing or two.
Thanks, Jamie. We'll be watching, there he is, Michael Waltrip with Matt Kenseth. Kenseth starting on the front row in Duel 2 with Kyle Busch, Robert Richardson Jr., David Gilliland, and Reed Sorensen. One of them will realize the dream of getting in the Daytona 500. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Everything they learn making tires for the grueling demands of NASCAR inspires what rolls into yours. Goodyear, the official tire of NASCAR. And as we look ahead towards the second duel of the night, Matt Kenseth and Kyle Busch starting on the front row. Kurt Busch, you see Ryan Newman, former Daytona 500 winner. Eric Almirola, Jamie McMurray, Michael Waltrip in the backup car, Danica Patrick in row 7. And rounding out the field, they have to race their way in. Richardson, Gilliland, Sorensen, and there's Martin Truex Jr. Never really got to run in the qualifying on Sunday. He's standing by with our Matt Yoakum.
Well, in Duel 1, Kevin Harvick started shotgun on the field, nearly pulled off the win, finishing 4th. Martin Truex, that's where you're going to be starting, so he gives you definitely hope, but you've got a great race car.
I think we do. We haven't done a lot of drafting this week, but just trying to keep the thing safe. So, tonight will be a good little test to get ready for the 500, and of course it's a little bit cooler and all, but I think we'll learn quite a bit tonight we can use. So hopefully we'll be able to find some holes early, get up towards the front, and get a little racy and see what we got.
Thank you, Martin.
Danica Patrick starting 14th in the second duel tonight. And Danica, did you have a chance to watch that first race, and did you learn anything?
Yeah, I watched it. I did. It wasn't super crazy, but you could definitely see that if you want to make headway, you're going to have to use the car in front of you up a little bit and work the draft really well. So, yeah, but it all was pretty calm. And unfortunately, Billy and I were talking in the driver's meeting about how the duels normally go, and that normally they're different, as in one's crazy and one's not. So if the first one's crazy, the second one's calm, and vice versa. So I really hope that means that ours is not crazy, but we're ready for anything. We want to have as good a starting place for the 500 as we can, and it's all a great learning experience. I mean, with the charter system we're in, but you still want to learn as much as you can in this duel.
Well, unlike his teammate Denny Hamlin, who didn't have any teammates in his race, Carl does have teammates here. I'm sure you sat back there and you watched how things unfolded and what Denny did and didn't do. What did you learn?
It looked like Denny did a really good job, but man, the 88 car was fast and he made a lot of the right moves. You saw everybody line up, and I got to say, you guys in the booth did a really good job describing everything. I learned a lot listening to Jeff up there, so it's pretty cool to watch. I just hope we can work together. Our Toyotas have been really fast, and our Aris Toyota's been good, so just go out and have a good time, try not to wreck. I've been drinking Michael's Maxwell House. He's given me, I had a cup of coffee before this started, so if I can just keep everything in line here, it'll be all right.
All right, Carl Edwards starting from the front row, or second row.
All right, coming up, Denny Hamlin, who led 13 laps, and Carl Edwards just referring to him before Dale Earnhardt Jr. was able to win Duel 1. Denny will join us here in the Hollywood Hotel to get you ready for Duel 2.
One, two, 1, 2. Yep.
Nice to have you watching live from Daytona here on FS1. Rick Hendrick there with Dale Earnhardt Jr., who had to put a move on the end to overtake Denny Hamlin in the 11 FedEx Joe Gibbs Toyotas. We welcome you inside the Hollywood Hotel trackside with Denny Hamlin. Boy, that was tough. You got out there, you led 13 laps. I know the goal was always to win. What else were you hoping to accomplish tonight?
Just win. Well, I mean, that's what we come here for, but really we haven't drafted that much with this car. So to kind of see how it stacked up versus the Unlimited car. We got a little bit of work to do, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes things difficult, obviously, when all of our Toyota teammates are in the next duel. But still, I noticed in the same positions that we could get a little bit more speed out of our car.
Yeah, you were the lone wolf in that. Jeff Gordon said in the broadcast, you're the kind of guy, you don't like sitting in line. You're not going to be patient. I mean, so this is something that whether you have teammates or not, you were going for it.
Well, it's a duel, and I mean, who wants to sit up by the fence and ride that for 50 laps? So, yeah, I mean, I'm willing to take my chances always. Make a line, start to form a line on the bottom to try to get the racing action going, and we were able to get it going there at the end.
We heard Dale Earnhardt Jr. said, hey, there's a lot of blocking going on out there, and we saw obviously Michael McDowell had to do that to race his way in. Is this kind of what we're going to see in the Daytona 500? You start 11th, by the way, in the Great American Race on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it is a leader-driven race. We've seen that in the past, and really, even tonight and last weekend, it is a leader-driven race. The 88 got such a big run on me. You have to anticipate it. The difference was last week I was able to anticipate what line that the 27 was going to go in. This time, I was the goalie. I faked. I went right. He went left.
And here we go.
I did such a bad job there.
Really? What could you have done better? He put out a pretty good, that was a patented Earnhardt move there.
I know, but he didn't get the monster run that I thought he got. I just flat out left the door open, so he walked right through it.
Well, and you left the door open to a guy who's pretty good at this track. Yep. I mean, as you are, does that matter who's there when you're in these situations? Whether I know this is different than the Daytona 500, but that is your ultimate goal.
Absolutely. I mean, me and the 88 have had so many duels at the end of these races, finishing 1-2 in one order or another. And trust me, when I was leading, he's not the guy that I wanted to see second, because usually when he backs up to the third place guy, that person is always committed to pushing him instead of passing him. So I knew I was in trouble, but I was hoping we'd hold it all.
And the talk has been about the Joe Gibbs Toyotas and the Hendrick Chevrolets here all through Speed Week. So now Jimmy Johnson is going to be the lone wolf in race 2 for Hendrick Motorsports. What do you expect out of him?
Well, I think he's fast. I think his car's fast. I think we saw that in practice earlier today. He was, about 3 miles an hour faster than everyone else, single car. Whether that translates into drafting speed or not, it remains to be seen. And yeah, he's going to have a tough task ahead of him racing those Gibbs team cars.
Yeah, before we let you go, Denny, just an overview of what we've seen tonight that you think we'll see on Sunday. What kind of race we should look for? You already talked about getting out front, staying out front.
Yeah, it's going to be super important to stay out front, no doubt about it. I think whoever's leading with 5 to go has probably got a good chance to win this thing. But I actually thought the race was a little bit dicier than the 150s have been in the past. So I expect the same thing tonight.
All right, well, good luck. Thanks for coming by. Denny Hamlin in the FedEx Toyota will be watching. He'll get back to some work. And Denny, what kind of shot does this guy have? Looks like a statue. Do you think he's nervous?
That's a lot of hair coloring right there.
All right. We'll see how Michael Waltrip could do in the second duel. There's a reason to hang around, right? Nice hair, right? Oh. We did.
Green flag, all rolling good. All rolling. Big green. It's all good, man. It's all good. 4 is outside, last car up top. Should have pushed hard if you want to there. Stay up very top here. All rolling good. 2 back, Brad. He's got a group that's catching him more. Your lane's moving good. 3 has room. 3 has half a car room. It's all good in front of you, man. Pick him down. Watch him coming across here. One more here, one more 44.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. will win his dual race for the 2nd year in a row.
And the last winner of the dual race who went on to win the Daytona 500 in the same year, that was in 2012, and that was Matt Kenseth. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with a chance to do that. Sprint Cup champ Kyle Busch ready for Duel 2 here on FS1, a 2-time winner in this race. And standing by with our Matt Yoakum.
Kyle Busch will roll off from the front row starting second. So having fun with his teammate Carl Edwards. What are you focusing on most in your duel? What do you want to learn that you can put used to on Sunday?
I guess essentially to see how good our M&M's race car is. You know, we feel like our Camrys are fast and have good speed. Showed that in single car qualifying, but now we want to make sure that we've got some of that for us for the rest of the guys, for the rest of the field in the Daytona 500 on Sunday. So right now is our first chance to be able to learn that and see what we got. And of course, too, you know, make sure our handling's good, those things, but try to win. You know, if we can win this thing, that puts us right back to where we start. You know, after qualifying for the Daytona 500, and that would be the best spot for us.
2 dual wins, chasing a third.
Well, Ty Dillon had an issue in practice yesterday, and that set you guys back a little bit. How did that affect you knowing you didn't get all that drafting practice?